While there are many different available translations of the Bible today, the LDS Church officially uses the King James Version. But many Latter-day Saints think that the existence of multiple translations demonstrates that the Bible is continually undergoing changes and is therefore unreliable. So why are there so many different versions? And should the existence of these versions undermine our trust in the Bible? Christians actually agree with the statement that we trust the Bible insofar as it is translated correctly. In other words, if a person were to convert a Greek New Testament into English and mistranslate something, Christians should be quick to reject it. Our goal is to understand what the original authors of the Bible wrote. Now, the Bible is divided into two major sections, the Old Testament and the New Testament. The Old Testament was written in Hebrew with a little bit of Aramaic in there, and the New Testament in Greek. We have thousands upon thousands of ancient manuscripts written in the original languages that help us know with confidence what God inspired the original biblical authors to write. When a group of believers thinks it's necessary to create a new trustworthy Bible translation, a team of trained scholars carefully considers how to faithfully convert the original Greek and Hebrew texts into the new language. The goal of these translation committees is to best preserve the meaning of the original text for these new audiences. But if that's the case, why are there so many English translations? Isn't the King James Version good enough for English readers? Well, first off, we in English sometimes use different words when talking about the same thing. Consider how many everyday objects are referred to in different ways by different English-speaking people. Additionally, the English language changes over time. Words go in and out of use. When this happens, older translations, even good ones like the King James Version, can end up being really confusing for modern readers who no longer use those same words in everyday language. So this is another reason there are so many English translations. The language of the Bible needs to be updated for modern readers. For example, in James 5:11, the King James Version says that God is pitiful. Now, when the King James Version was written, the word pitiful meant literally full of pity. But in our modern usage of the word pitiful just means pathetic. In an effort to help people better understand what was originally meant, newer translations are made that use updated language. Now, this isn't changing the meaning of the text. It's not removing doctrines from the Bible. It's actually trying to make it so that we can better understand what the Bible says. Also, not all translations are the same kind of translation. There are different translation methods and philosophies. There's actually a spectrum of different translation methods, ranging from word-for-word translations to thought-for-thought translations. Word-for-word translations look at each individual Greek and Hebrew word and try and directly translate them into English, one word at a time. But sometimes this can produce awkward or even hard-to-read versions of the Bible. Some translations try to translate on a thought-for-thought basis. This method considers one phrase at a time and intends to translate the original meaning in a way that is easier to read and understand. Still, other translations are developed in an attempt to fall right in the middle of the spectrum, sticking as close to the original meaning of each phrase while preserving as much of the specific wording as possible. So can we trust all these various translations even though they're different? The answer is yes. Yes, we can. Many Christians even feel that having multiple translations is helpful for Bible study. Contrary to what many Mormons believe, trusted translators are not trying to add in new doctrines or remove old ones. The goal is to faithfully preserve the meaning of the original text as best as possible so that we can understand what the Bible is saying. And that's why there are so many different translations of the Bible today.